how's it going? I hope you enjoyed seeing this little flower bed transformation. I really want to walk you through each one of the plants that I chose for this area. This is one of our friends' homes, and they have a very big family, very busy all the time, and so they didn't have a chance to tackle this front flower bed, and I thought, well, I would love to come down here and plant some things, and it was a really fun project. So I really want this to be more about plant placement, spacing, how to start a flower bed, and what to expect it to look like in the beginning rather than like some amazing transformation in the end, because oftentimes when we're planting brand new beds, things are small, they're not mature, they're not going to look like they will in the end. So you just have to kind of use your imagination, I guess, and kind of think end game rather than trying to pack everything full. I know, like, hearing those words coming out of my mouth is kind of funny because I usually pack things really full, especially in containers, but you do have to be more mindful of those things when you're dealing with like more permanent plantings. And I did use a mixture of plants. I've got some shrubs, some perennials, and quite a number of annuals. So starting in this area, well, first of all, this bed gets full sun. I mean, it gets sun from first thing in the morning until really late in the afternoon. If you're unsure of what kind of sun your flower bed needs or has and what kind of plants to put in that area, if there's anything, any plants at all in your flower beds, like let's say you just moved into a new home, there's already some plants there, figure out what those kind of plants are. If they're thriving and they're a type of plant that likes full sun, then you know to plant full sun things in that area. Like, because I initially thought this is an east exposure right here, morning sun, which typically means we can plant shade loving stuff, hostas and not hydrangeas, they need more sun than I used to think, but things that want more shade. But then I got to looking at what was in here. There are daisies, there are centaurea, there's a Rosa Sharon over here that are all doing really well. So I thought, nope, I got to put some full sun stuff in here, and I'm super glad I did because we've spent a little time here and watching the sun, and it truly is full sun exposure. The only thing I moved out of these beds was a little bit of the centaurea, which was right here where the rose needed to go. So we actually dug it out and repotted it, and one of her friends came to come get it, and there was one little thing of catnip that Jen moved to the backyard. So the two plants were the only things we moved. We worked with everything else that was here, including the barrier. So you can see we're dealing with a very fairly skinny flower beds. And so it's kind of fun to see some options that go with that. Also, this concrete border goes about 6 inches down. And I'm not sure if that was something that they used to do maybe at the time that this house was built, but it's around both flower beds. And sometimes, like, we didn't have the tools or anything necessary to remove that. So sometimes you just have to work with what you've got. So what I did in this corner here was I used a miscanthus. This is a Japanese, I think, silver grass. I don't know, we'll put the name on the screen. How can I not remember what it is? I just planted it. Anyway, I chose this because it is perennial and it gets quite tall, like 6 feet. So it'll be about this tall, so it'll be the anchor of the corner of the house, and I repeated it on the other side. And I chose this because it could be the anchor without being a tree or an evergreen of some kind, which sometimes you don't want to do that. This is really close to the house, and I didn't want to mess with anything. Now it does get like 3 to 5 feet wide, so it will want to spread and fill in this whole area. And I told them eventually you're going to want to divide the grass, give it away to friends, but you'll love it. I actually bought these 2 grasses for my moon garden, but I got to looking at it and I thought, nope, they'll be the perfect perennial choice for this area because of the dark siding with the heavy white variegation this grass has. It'll be gorgeous. The next plants that we have here are so stunning. These are called Living La Vida roses. They're a landscape type rose, grows 30 to 36 inches tall and wide. So I anticipate them just nicely filling in their space right here. And the wonderful thing about them, they are a zone 5 through 9. They like full sun, but they keep blooming all season long without needing to be deadheaded. So they're no maintenance. That was one thing when I was planting this up. I thought, no, I need to pick things that aren't going to require a lot of attention because they are so busy. So I think these fit the bill while adding a ton of color, and they look great up against the siding. I initially thought about doing red, but I do think this bright pink shows up a little better. The next layer down, which was an afterthought, I didn't even do this. I did this just before we started filming today. I brought these today because I thought we needed a second layer, because in the initial, when I was done, I just had the lemon coral sedum and the roses, which would be beautiful, but I wanted something to sparkle, and I wanted a second layer because the roses, will get 3 feet or so about like this tall. The Diamond Mountain will be a second story layer, and they They'll get bulky, but I think they'll intermingle fairly well with the roses, and they'll kind of come out over the top of the lemon coral. And then the lemon coral sedum, of course, it always looks a little like small when you put these annuals in, but you just got to think, like in just even a month's time, they're going to put on so much growth and be beautiful. And that's what you'll see when we go over to this other flower bed. I do lean fairly heavy on annuals in new areas. I like to put in a few anchor pieces and a few perennials that will come back, so that you at least have some of your initial investment of time and money is spent in something that will come back. But then I also like to put in annuals because you get instant impact that year, and I think that is very important, especially if you're a beginner gardener. To see results and see something gorgeous that first year is, I mean, that'll motivate you to keep going. It also gives you an opportunity to try out different combinations and colors without a huge commitment. Because let's say you try the Diamond Mountain and you decide, I didn't really like the white right there. I'm so glad I didn't invest in white blooming perennials, and now, you know, I need to dig them up and put them somewhere else. So I always like to do that in my own flower beds too, and it allows me to try things out and go a little bit slower. We did have to bring water to this flower bed. So the water access is over there. There's a hose bib on that side of the house. There's drip running through this flower bed. It goes underneath this concrete edging through the grass. We had to dig the grass up right here, which it'll all settle and the grass will grow right back in. And then we brought our big auger. We have a really long auger. So we ogged a hole, is that right? We ogged a hole underneath the sidewalk and shoved the drip tube through there, and then went through the grass here and then up underneath the concrete up into this flower bed. So everything here is on its own drip system. It's all on a timer, so they don't even have to think about it. I mean, you do want to keep your eyes on it just in case something plugs or your drip didn't go off for some reason, who knows. But for the most part, it should be fairly hands-off. I brought these containers from kind of my pot hoard at home. I used these in a couple of displays in the past, but I thought they would be the perfect containers for this home just because they're tall enough, I think, and especially when you take into account how big this Wicked Witch Coleus will get. They'll be tall, they're slender, so they don't neck down the walkway up to the door, and they add some color without being bright and in your face, if that makes sense. They're kind of a muted glaze on them, and I love it, kind of the aqua color. So Wicked Witch Coleus in the center here. This is a San Vitalia called Sunbeanie, trailing plant and very sweet. Super Bell's Black Currant Punch, and Super Tunia Bordeaux. I love the blend. I think it's so beautiful. And then over here on this side, this flower bed is the interesting one because this one is full of a lot of annuals. I did put 3 Serendipity alliums in here and the grass in the corner, and those are the only perennials that will come back. But there is a patch of daisies here that were already here. Can you hear all the horns? They're doing a drive-by graduation parade really near us. If you can hear the car horns, that's what's going on. Anyway, I thought it would be really fun to just pack this full of color. So in the back part, we've got sun-credible sunflowers. And it's funny because you buy these things, it looks like I need to come in with a little bit of supplemental water today, but you get these annuals that have like one stalk, but you have to like really study the tags because this one will bulk out like this big. It'll be this tall, full of bloom. And this whole, I mean, I don't think in the end you'll be able to see any soil in here. So the sun-credibles in my garden got about a little bit higher than my shoulder, so I think they're gonna be able to see some of the blooms from inside, which will be really fun. The next layer down, okay, we're gonna take a quick break while the graduation parade commences, and then we'll be right back. I don't even know where we were at, but it gave me some time to give a little bit of supplemental water to these. That's the thing, like I said, we have it set up on a drip system, but you do, especially when they're brand new planted, you want to keep an eye on them for a little while. And it's supposed to be in the upper 90s today, like it's getting really close. It's like 95 right now. So it's a good idea, especially if you just planted something that's a baby, to check on it when it gets really hot. So anyway, we'll have our top layer of sunflowers here, and then play in the blue salvia, and then the Super Tunia trailing rosevein is kind of dotted throughout the whole front of this bed, and it'll start bulking up and filling in the edges and trailing over the sides, and I think it's going to be gorgeous. That's pretty much it for this project. It was just so fun to come somewhere else and do something for somebody else that they might really enjoy, and just to do the whole thing, to make sure it's set up on drip. And that's the thing, whenever we do a project for somebody else, I always want to make sure it never becomes more of a burden. And so that's where drip system comes in really handy. When you're dealing with a family that's already so busy, you don't want to be like, here, I just gave you 30 minutes of work you have to do every day, and then, you know, make sure to keep everything watered and you have to deadhead all these plants too. Nothing like that needs to happen with any of these plants. So it was just a really fun project, and I'm super excited to come give you guys progress updates throughout the season. They do know that we want to come do that. No pressure, you guys. I think it'll be fun to show you how it fills in, because this is basically how an annual bed in particular looks like when I lay it out. It doesn't look like, whoa, that's amazing, but it will very shortly. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful and maybe motivating to you guys to get something started in your space, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.